Hey guys, want to make your home cozier and save a little more money? Take a free online energy assessment from Energy Trust of Oregon. It's fast, easy, and gives you personalized tips to boost your home energy savings, lower bills, and more comfort. Shoot, I'm taking this quiz. Let's take it together at visitenergytrust.org/assessment. We can join thousands of Oregonians already making smarter energy moves. That's energytrust.org/assessment. Lansu Chinese Garden is celebrating 25 years of culture, community, and connection this September. If you haven't been, it's the gem of the historic Old Town Chinatown neighborhood. And now is the perfect time to discover why Lansu is more than a garden. They're inviting everyone to help them celebrate their milestone with discounted admission, cultural performances, historical exhibits, and so much more. You can go to lansugarden.org for more details. That's LANSU garden.org. Circle V Portland, presented by Veganizer, is back on Sunday, September 14th at Castaway. It's Portland's premier vegan tasting experience. It's where chefs from your favorite vegan restaurants like Plant-Based Papi, Au Bon Chocudo, and Mis Tacones, just to name a few, are working in pairs to create unique collaborative dishes. Tickets include 10 of these collaborative dishes, some small bites, and drink tastings. And a portion of ticket sales benefits local nonprofits. You can grab your tickets at circlevportland.com. That's circlevportland.com. For decades, Portland has prided itself on being a model city for biking, but that reputation has slid a bit in recent years. In fact, our city dropped 3 slots to become the 8th most bikeable large city in the country this year. And this is according to the nonprofit People for Bikes. And if you're a regular cyclist, I'm sure you know there's no shortage of bizarre intersections and dangerous pedestrian paths to show why. So today on CityCast Portland, we're talking with Toby Hodges. He helped coordinate a tour of some of these particularly troublesome sites earlier this summer with Sunrise PDX that included workers at the Portland Bureau of Transportation and even City Council. He's sharing the good, the bad, and the ugly of a few of Portland's most notorious intersections. It's Thursday, September 11th. I'm Claudia Meza, and this is what Portland's talking about. I know you're not a professional transit guy or an urban planner, from what I've been told, but you've been leading tours on some of the city's worst intersections. So this is something you've thought of, very deeply. So where does your investment in this kind of thinking and biking and pedestrian, where does this come from?
Yeah, I'm definitely not a professional by any means. My investment comes from, I bought a bike a little while ago, a couple of years ago, and got pretty disillusioned with the way we do transportation in the city and in the country. And I started biking into work, which was a long ride. Mm-hmm. And I got to go through a lot of not so great parts of infrastructure. And that kind of led me down a spiral. Now I like to bike wherever I can and take transit where I can't and drive where I can't do that.
So when you helped coordinate this tour of these sites earlier this summer with Sunrise PDX, it's interesting because you're not like an urban planner or a transit guy,
right,
but you were somehow able to get all these city councilors on it. Could you explain to me this ride, how it came about, what made you want to do it?
I think the impetus was I just wanted to go for a Pedalpalooza bike ride, a summer bike ride, and being part of Sunrise and having the connections that Sunrise does with both elected officials and other groups like Bike Loud and CCC and DPAVE and Strong Towns, it was kind of a natural fit to say, hey, we're trying to make transportation in Portland more equitable, more just. Why don't we see if we can get some elected officials and city planners to experience the infrastructure that we're talking about? It's often the case that our elected officials don't actually have any experience on the routes that we talk about day to day.
Yeah.
So having some elected experience go out on the routes with us was the goal, to get them to experience it and then to talk about it and bring awareness to it to the general public.
So who all came? Who was part of the bike ride from the city council?
From the city council, Mitch Green was the only person who did the route with us.
Did you invite them all?
We invited everyone. We invited a
Okay.
lot of people. Unfortunately, we got a lot of accepted offers, and then Mitch was the only person to
Actually
show
show
up and
up.
do the ride. Yeah. We did have a good chunk of, I believe, like Peabot planners, which was really cool.
That is cool.
But yeah, we were hoping for more elected official presence. And I'm hoping that maybe seeing the turnout for it, I think we had 150 like plus people.
150
It was
bike. That is huge.
It was a huge bike ride.
Did you hear anything from anyone that they were just like, oh, wow, I didn't realize this or whatever?
I think Portland is a place that isn't super disillusioned about its problems. Mitch, I know, is an advocate for cyclists in the city. And I think that one of the coolest things I saw from him afterwards was like a series of photos of good infrastructure for pedestrians and bicyclists around the city after the ride. And he said, I'm thinking about that ride constantly. And that was really heartwarming to see. And I'm hoping that we had that effect on people.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that was like over 100 people who went on that ride. I'm sure that's over 100 different experiences of hearing like why this doesn't work.
Right.
So hopefully something is changing, right?
We're hoping, and it sounds like there's interest in doing it again. That was some of the feedback I received. So maybe we make it a recurring thing and we see like over time some improvement of these areas that we want to see improved.
Yeah. Well, generally speaking, when you're valuing like whether a street or an intersection is good for biking or for pedestrians, like what are you looking for? Do you have a personal checklist of like, all right, this is safe, or like, no, this is not coming back through this way again?
Yeah, I don't think I have an actual checklist, but I definitely have some things that I consider kind of subconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them are safety oriented. So if I can see if there's a bunch of parked cars and I can't see over them when I'm trying to make a turn or even just going straight, then I think I generally consider it not safe.
So visibility as well.
Visibility for sure. And then speed, if people are going super fast or if there's no like traffic lights or stop signs or roundabouts, that's another big concern. Other things that aren't specifically safety oriented, things like tree cover, like shade. And if I'm walking, it's always how maintained are the curbs? How can I get where I need to go without stepping into the street first and looking around?
Yeah, like is there a sidewalk?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Well, let's go through a handful of streets and intersections and talk about what's working and what isn't. You actually brought some of these to our attention. So the first one we wanted to talk about was just Sandy Boulevard. I feel like this street is full of tough intersections because of how it's laid out. But let's pick one specifically, Northeast Sandy and 22nd in Kearns, the coolest neighborhood in Portland, according. I don't know if you know if you heard about that.
I love Kearns. I think I support that.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm just saying it was rated.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Like one of those, like, I don't even know for what website, but it was just like the coolest neighborhood in one of the coolest neighborhoods in the world. And it was just like Kearns. I was like, okay, all right. But anyhow, so Northeast Sandy and 22nd. And I think I know which one this is. This is the one that it looks like there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points.
Right.
So what do you dislike about this area?
What I dislike about this area is Sandy, along with all of the non-grid thoroughfares in the city, have the potential to be really, really valuable to non-car drivers as major time savers when they're trying to get into the center of the city or like out from the center of the city. One of the people who spoke on the bike ride from Bike Cloud talked about the city's statistics on how valuable those thoroughfares could be to non-car drivers. And the city identified Sandy as one of the most valuable in the whole city. But they haven't put in the effort required to make that true. And Sandy is terrifying to cyclists, to say the least. And specifically, this intersection is a good example because it's super confusing. And you're right, this intersection has like 4 outlets from whichever direction you're going. And it's just dangerous. There's no separation. There's no green paint. It's just crosswalks and cars going as fast as they can through that intersection. It's just scary.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's Sandy because of the way it was built. It was built at a diagonal, correct?
Right.
Yeah, and so it just like creates these weird intersections because everything else on the grid is not slanted.
Right.
Well, let's take a quick break here. And when we come back, let's talk about, I think, what might be the craziest, the most dangerous road out there, which is 82nd Avenue.
Oof, yeah.
CityCast Portland is brought to you by Diamore Law Group. Let's face it, sometimes bad stuff happens. A serious injury, a catastrophic accident, or even a wrongful death. It can turn your world upside down. When it does, you deserve unwavering support from a dedicated team. Yep, you need a lawyer. Diamore Law Group has over 30 years of experience protecting the rights of Oregonians. Their team of skilled attorneys, led by distinguished trial attorney Tom Diamore, will work tirelessly to make sure your voice is heard and your rights are protected. Here's what one of his clients said. Tom fights for his clients from the first day they meet him through the last day of trial. If you or a loved one needs help holding those responsible for your injuries accountable, contact Diamore Law Group at 503-222-6333 or visit diamorelaw.com to schedule a free consultation. They are committed to fighting for the justice and compensation you deserve right here in Portland.
Freem Family Brewers has opened up a second location in Milwaukee just south of Portland, so you no longer have to make the trek all the way to Hood River just to get to their 20-plus taps of award-winning beer. They've moved into the historic Milwaukee City Hall building right into the old firehouse, and I hear they turned the old fire pole into a fully functioning tap. I would like to see that. Plus, this new location has 3 bars with seasonal cocktails, in addition to all the harder-to-find Freem beers. My go-to is the Japanese lager, and they're serving practically the same menu as their Hood River location, so you know their food is solid. I recommend anything on the menu that has their house-made beer cheese. It's so delicious. Freem Milwaukee is open daily from 11:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. You can see their full menu at freembeer.com. That's P-F-R-I-E-M beer.com. Cooler weather's on the way, and if your windows are drafty or leaky, now is the time to act. This month, you can get 50% off all window styles at Window Nation. You can also put 0 down, make 0 payments, and pay 0 interest for 2 whole years. That's right, you could pay nothing until 2027. Window Nation uses windows made right here in Portland by Milgard. That's a good brand. They've got both an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and a 96% customer satisfaction rating with over 45,000 5-star reviews. Installation crews finish the job in 1 day or less, so you can enjoy what's left of summer with minimal disruption. And I gotta tell you, I had all of my windows replaced recently, and it's crazy how much more energy efficient my house has become. It's also just quieter, which I was not expecting. You can schedule a fast free estimate now with Window Nation at windownation.com. That's windownation.com, license number OR 249065. Well, let's talk about 82nd Avenue, which has a reputation for years as one of the most dangerous streets in Portland, but there's been a big effort to make some of these crossings safer. Let's look specifically at Southeast 82nd and Ramona Street on the edge of Lentz, where they're working on these crossing improvements on that intersection. Like, what do you think about the work that's being done there?
I think any improvements to 82nd are going to be welcome. I also think that the city and the planning that's gone into the 82nd improvements haven't put enough of an emphasis on transit and bicycle infrastructure. I know that area is genuinely terrifying to bicycle in. If you're coming over from Woodstock, you either have, like, you can go up to Foster, or you can go through Woodstock, like across 82nd. And I think that Woodstock just drops its bike lane at some point, like right when it hits 82nd. On one side of it, Woodstock just disappears. So you have to either go up through Foster up to get past it, or you just have to risk it. But yeah, that area, especially with all the like parking lots and people pulling out and whatnot, it's just scary.
Definitely.
I think that it could be such a great area because of everything that's on it, and because it's kind of this bridge between East Portland and like Central East Side. But it's like this wall, a divider. It keeps people from going in and out through any means other than driving.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, one of the most terrifying areas I can think of is under the freeway underpasses, like along the river on the east side in North Interstate near the Steel Bridge, like where most people jump over to the East Bank Esplanade. So there's actually like a lot of bike traffic there.
Right.
Like, how did anyone think that was a good idea? I'm not sure, but
I don't know.
that whole area is kind of screwed.
It's terrifying.
Yeah. Well, Toby, when you do these tours, like, what are you saying to these people? Like, how are you explaining this stuff? You know what I mean? Could you kind of like walk me through it?
So say you're on the west side and you're trying to get over to Kearns because it's the coolest neighborhood ever.
Yeah, of course.
What you would have to do is come over the Steel Bridge, and then the actual infrastructure in place puts you directly on a sidewalk with the I-5 and the on-ramps to 84 coming over your head. And you either are supposed to continue on that sidewalk and hop off onto Lloyd to cross MLK and Grand, or you stay on the sidewalk potentially, and then you have to take all the crosswalks as you would a pedestrian. But there's no bike lane that connects Steel Bridge to, say, Blooming Bridge. Right. Which are two great pieces of infrastructure, and completely reasonable that somebody on the west side, on like maybe in Northwest somewhere or Old Town, wants to get over to Kearns. What they would have to do now is either continue on Lloyd and come back through to Gleason and Sandy, so 22nd and Sandy, or they have to brave the connection between Steel Bridge and Blooming Bridge, which is crossing two of the most terrifying streets in the downtown center, without any protection whatsoever as a cyclist. So when you're asking about the importance is that it can potentially save lives, and perhaps even more so, it can encourage people to take alternative modes of transportation when they wouldn't otherwise.
Right. What would be your dream bike route? What are some areas in the city that you're like, this is working, this is perfect, this is how it should be?
I think that the city is onto something when they talk about a green loop. I think that would be super helpful for everyone trying to get around the city. People who are visiting as well. Like, it gives the potential to navigate the whole city without a car. I would love to actually have that loop be pedestrianized and greened, as well as have serious bicycle infrastructure to protect anyone walking on it. You see like the Paris greening initiatives where they take normal streets and then they put benches and trees and bicycle ways in them. I think something like that for the green loop is the dream route.
Yeah. Have you been to Atlanta?
I have.
Have you been to the Beltway?
I have not.
Okay. So the Beltway connects all these neighborhoods.
Right.
And it's this huge loop, and it's just, pedestrian bike only.
Nice.
And it's really cool because you basically are walking through. I think they like took over essentially like railroad sections,
Yeah.
And it does connect all these disparate, parts of like inner Atlanta.
Sure.
But that's something that would be kind of cool. Like if there was
awesome.
a loop that like went pretty much every quadrant just went through. And if you wanted to, you could go through.
Yeah, that's definitely the dream for Portland, I think.
Yeah. Well, Toby, I really appreciate your time. I think the idea was really cool. I hope that it happens again. And I hope that more elected leaders come out this time, because I think it's really important. I mean, I'm not sure how much anyone bikes, but it's kind of important that you know what's going on.
Exactly.
These visuals, like the feeling of like, oh no.
Yes.
It is a very like visceral,
Absolutely.
like in your stomach, like, am I going to get hit feeling when you get to an intersection and you're just like, nobody knows what's going on right here.
There's a distinct difference between knowing that connecting the Steel Bridge and Blumenauer sucks and then riding it and being like, I might be injured mortally right now.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the work that you do, and check in with us. I'd love to know if you do another one of these.
Awesome. Yeah. It sounds like we might try to do it. Thanks so much.
And now for some events happening this week. Every Thursday on the show, we like to bring you a few recommendations to help you plan your weekend. And here's what we got. Pica's Time-Based Art Festival is still going on at various venues across the city. Hit up pica.org for the schedule. I guarantee anything you'll see will leave you both baffled and delighted in equal parts. That's a guarantee. OMSI is also having some kind of Nicolas Cage film festival, and tonight they're showing both Pig and Longlegs on their giant screen, but Moonstruck, Renfield, Valley Girl adaptation, Red Rock West, and so many more are scheduled all weekend long. Pig was shot in Portland, so you gotta go check that one out. And starting Friday through the weekend, PDX Pop Festival is happening for free downtown at the Midtown Beer Garden. Coupled with a Sunday Parkways that's shutting down a good chunk of downtown, it's gonna be a lovely day to ride your bike to the west side. There's also going to be bike buses starting from nearly every quadrant, ending at the Sunday Parkways downtown for an even safer ride. You can gain earlier access to our event picks by becoming a CityCast Portland neighbor. That's our membership program that gets you member-only events like insider tours, volunteering meetups, and happy hours with fellow CityCast neighbors, plus ad-free listening and opportunities to shout out a favorite local business or nonprofit in our podcast and newsletter. You can become a CityCast Portland neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. That's membership.citycast.fm. And of course, these picks are just scratching the surface of what's going on this weekend. There's so much more. For even more local events and news, sign up for our daily newsletter, Hey Portland, or head over to our website, portland.citycast.fm. We'll throw a link in the show notes. That's all for today here on CityCast Portland. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the show, share it with a friend or rate and leave us a good review. It really helps us out. And don't forget, you can support this show and get some great perks by becoming a CityCast neighbor. Just visit membership.citycast.fm for all the details. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more from around the city. Until then, see you with Slims.